So this video is for those who don't think they can make it. Because after years of failing and even getting a poor letter of recommendation in college, I graduated with honors. And I'm not here to brag, I just kind of want to share my experience with you. All right, so here's my story. In 7th grade, I failed 6th grade math. I later went on to making A's, B's, and C's, and D's and F's in high school. I graduated with a 2.6 GPA with an SAT score of 16, which I got again at my second attempt. And the coolest part was that my parents weren't disappointed in me because they knew I was actually trying my best. I actually remember my dad sitting down with me and he shared his high school transcripts with me, which he made C's and D's in English. He didn't do so well in math. Anyway, I ended up going to a community college because I didn't make the grades to get into a university, and I got in via like remediation. So I don't know if you've heard of like a remediation class, but what you end up doing is you start off with these 3 classes. I started off with reading, writing, and algebra. I don't know who takes a reading class in college, but it kind of made me feel dumb. But I just kind of soon found out that I enjoyed college because it wasn't at all like high school. In college, I did well enough. I got A's, B's, and I got 1 C, and it was in wilderness camping, and I'm pretty sure it was a mistake, but I never petitioned it. I'm an avid hiker, a backpacker, not sure how I got a C in that class. So during the middle of college, I also served a 2-year mission for the Church of Jesus Christ in Taiwan, and after graduating, my college GPA was about a 3.6. So that's not bad, but it still wasn't great. After graduating with a degree in cultural studies, the recession hit, and I knew I'd never get a job. My parents gave me a check for $2,000, and I used all of it to take prereqs for med school. I took anatomy, physiology, and chemistry all in one summer at BYU to see if I was smart enough to be a doctor. I got A's and B's and a C in chemistry and dropped out of school. So one day I was actually talking to my sister who did the payroll for a skilled nursing facility. She told me how much I would make as an OT, and that's what initially got me interested. And then I found out that the University of Utah had OTs who were helping with refugee resettlement, and that's where I just really got hooked. So I shadowed a few OTs and I applied at the University of Utah, Toro University, Nevada, and also Pacific University of Oregon. Utah put me on a wait list. Pacific University said I wasn't diverse enough, even though I spoke Mandarin and had a degree in cultural studies. And I went to school in Hawaii, and then I applied to Toro. So during the interview process at Toro, one of the other faculty members told me that they would accept me before even sending me an acceptance letter. The feeling at Toro just was the overwhelming spiritual answer I was looking for, and it just felt right in every way. Now, this is the part where I just felt like my grades began to change. I knew a lot of the money was on the line, and I had to maintain a B average. My language skills had also prepared me to study better. I remember I used to carry flashcards everywhere I would go. I studied during meals. I would use different ways to study, sometimes reading, discussing topics with classmates, and just teaching topics to myself that I didn't understand. When you learn a language, you understand it best when you study, speak, and read. And I really think that's the key to understanding. I later found out in a neurology class that sleeping can actually consolidate your memories to help you better remember what you learn. So I applied this by waking up early to study rather than staying up late and getting 8 hours of sleep rather than 6. Another thing that helped was working. I found a job at my school that let me study, and this almost forced me to study more than I normally would. Now, there's a story I probably shouldn't tell you, but while I was working one day, I actually had this opportunity to see my own records. In my file, I found a letter of recommendation, and I had always wanted to know what it said about me. One letter was from an OT who just barely knew me, and I was surprised how kind he was, and I only shadowed him twice, so it was really weird. The second letter was from a close professor at my undergrad university. She highlighted the areas where I failed and gave me a really poor recommendation. So looking back, my story isn't about being naturally smart. It's about learning how to learn, showing up every day, and refusing to let my past define me. I went from failing math in middle school, graduating high school with a 2.6 GPA, and getting a poor letter of recommendation to earning honors in a master's program. I found what motivated me, learned how to study in a way that actually worked, and proved myself that effort and purpose matter more than a perfect transcript. I'm not saying that I have this incredible career. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be, but I'm just grateful for where I am. If you're struggling to figure out life, don't. It's not about what you do. It's about making it more meaningful for others along the way. Thanks for sticking around and listening. Have a great day.